Cosplayers, what's one cosplay you will never do again, and why? Never again will I cosplay full anime plate armor. I went as Gilgamesh from Fate, Stay/Night all third printed, 8 unrelenting hours trapped in a plastic cocoon. Skin unable to breathe, pinching, serious chafing, huge welts and blisters all over, and on the way home I turned in a funny way snap went the armor, and by that point I had enough. I took everything off, threw it in the nearest bin, and made the remaining journey home barefoot in cycling shorts and a red cape. I dressed as Link and got the normal "Oh hi Zelda," which I think is funny, and laughed it off, but also got a lot of nerdy guys questioning me about my dedication to the Legend of Zelda. Shit like, "You're not a true fan if you didn't play, insert their fat Zelda game here," and if I stated that I have indeed played it, they would then question every detail about the game to "prove it." A girl could dress up as anyone and get harassed though, honestly. Faye Valentine for Cowboy Bebop. Not because of awkward guy comments, but because of other lady cosplayers that would come up to me and talk about how Faye is a good starter cosplay, because I guess it's not intricate enough. I got tired of the condescension. Master Chief. Every Halloween at school I would wear an over-the-top costume, and for my senior year I wanted to go above and beyond. So I worked overtime to buy Halo 4 Master Chief armor. Only problem was that the armor pieces were made of plastic, so I couldn't sit completely down without breaking the thigh pieces. So I had to go through every class squatting over my seat instead of actually sitting in it. My legs were killing me at the end of the day. Also my costume was very loud. The sound of plastic rubbing against each other was terrible. Now I usually go for smaller cosplay. This year I went as a Vault Dweller and I could actually move and stuff. Darth Vader. Wore it 4 years into our stints. Vision is awful and zero skin is shown anywhere, so it's hot. Real hot. Lots of wiring for lights and sound mean there's always something that can, and does, go wrong. Lots of kids coming up and randomly pressing buttons on the chest. Plus the cape is hard to control. Now I keep him permanently displayed on a 6'5" mannequin. Snow White. I wore it to a major comic convention and people would not let me walk. Parents were literally shoving their children into my arms and making me take pictures with their kids. Kids were flocking to me, only nice part, and parents were pushing each other around to take a pic with me and their child first. I was trying to take the shuttle to the convention, and I had a small crowd around me that would barely shift, so I could get into the shuttle. My boyfriend at the time had to literally yank me and run away into the shuttle because we almost missed it. The same thing proceeded to happen in the shuttle, off the shuttle, and attempting to walk to the convention, and at the convention. After 2 more hours of this, I demanded we go back to the hotel so I could change and actually enjoy the convention. The worst part was people shouting, "It's Cinderella. It's Sleeping Beauty. No, people know I'm Snow White, dang it." Professor X. The only reason I chose it was because I had torn my LCL and still wanted to attend the event, so I rented a wheelchair so I could get around the event. So many people came up and sat in my lap thinking I was just cosplaying as him. Thank goodness my friend's parents lived close, and we went and grabbed ice packs that we threw on my knee so people would quit doing it. Ariel. I love the Little Mermaid, and I love the costume I made for her mermaid form, but it's just been a cosplay that creeps have ruined for me. I literally got to the point of having to prosade my bikini top to my chest and wear pasties in case someone tried to rip it off. I have been groped, had hands stuck down the front and back of my costume, being kissed, and have heard all of the sea-related dirty jokes in existence. I officially decided to stop after one incident at a local convention where someone was trying to pull off my top and I slapped him hard enough for him to be thrown off balance. He fell into the water feature and hit his head. Police had to be called to figure out if it was self-defense or assault. I hung up my seashell bra and tail after that day. Slenderman. I got really into the craze back in the day, being a 6'3" skinny dude, and I thought of myself highly for having been a Marble Hornets fan car before the game was ever released. The issue is that I have a big head/nose, so through the morph suit you just see all my features, including my dark brown hair and smooshed nose. I ended up having a sore nose for days, and the soles of my morph suit were extremely darkened from walking around in platform boots for hours on end. Lucy Heartfilia from Fairy Tale. So, the costume itself wasn't the problem. It's pretty simple to be fair, but it had other issues. Firstly, I have small boobs, and the character doesn't. The amount of people that mentioned this was unreal. Secondly, the character wears a very short skirt. I had a few older men follow me and harass me because I was wearing it. Also, it was mid-October in the north of Scotland, so it was freezing cold. I once went to a Halo convention as Church from Red vs. Blue. Midway through the con, I had one of my friends pretend to kill me. I felt so bad for him because everyone was screaming at him, "You killed Church, you team killing fucktard. If I ever do it again, I'll claim to be Epsilon instead." No face from Spirited Away. At least not in public. I was accused of racism, asked to leave the subway, then taken aside by a very angry subway security employee, and had to frantically find a photo of No Face to show him to avoid more trouble. In fairness, he then was very concerned and helpful and advised me to take the costume off before I got myself beaten up by someone. My hometown has a very big Arabic population, so I can see why they thought I was being an asshole, what with the black cloak, black paint on my arms and the gold painted pebbles in my hands. Any version of Harley Quinn. Nobody knows how to behave around Holly. Not thirsty Harley fanboys. Not Joker cosplayers that are a little too in character. Not neckbeards who want to quiz you on your Harley knowledge. Not other Harley cosplayers who have an issue with what version of Harley you picked or how accurate your cosplay is. Every Holly I've met has been given hell for their cosplay for one reason or another. I only did Lego Harley twice and got minimal shit for it, but I've met multiple Suicide Squad Harleys who were literally suicide baited online and pushed around at cons by people who hated the character. Never again. Edit. Instead of just posting a cheesy thanks for the sylv, how about I expand on my experiences as a Harley cosplayer? I did 2 events as Holly, a convention as an attendee and Harley Quinn Day at a comic book shop as a paid performer. My cosplay was handmade, safe for the wig, and lacking in Lego Harley's pads, but the colors were spot on and the wig was on point. At the con, not a whole lot of problems. I had a creepy Joker latch onto me all con, repeatedly getting up on my face and wrapping an arm around me, but at no point was I genuinely fearful due to the fact we were still in a crowd. I had a handful of people ask me which Harley I was, or go out of their way to critique my original design for her, before I went on to explain that I was Harley from the Lego movie. At no point did I feel like I should shelf Holly. It wasn't that bad. I had a worse time that weekend when I cosplayed a podcast character that nobody was able to identify correctly. Working the event is what caused me to shelf the cosplay. I was working alongside 2 other Harleys, meeting and greeting people coming in for Harley Quinn merch and taking pictures. We were promised $20 each for 3 hours of our time. Wasn't god awful. Most cosplay performers do what they do for fun and will do certain events for free if they like the gig. In the email it said we could choose store credit or cash up front. Remember that. I got to talk to the other 2 Harleys between photo ops and they started telling me horror stories. One mentioned she had been posted on cringe pages, which lead to people hunting her down to harass her and suicide bait her, all because she cosplayed Suicide Squad Harley, and people are quick to call Suicide Squad Harleys fake fans, or say they are not real cosplayers. The other mentioned that she was touching up her makeup in the bathroom at con and someone cosplaying the original Harley grilled her, saying she'd never do Suicide Squad Harley because it's trashy. By the end of the event, the owner of the comic shop stiffed us. He gave us each 3 $5 coupons to the shop. I had to pull up the email to prove he'd offered us cash. After all of that, I was done with Holly. It's a shame I splurged on the wig. Drive. Roxo. Nobody wants to see that. Kakakaye. Real reason is, while fun, I have no place to put anything, no pockets, nowhere to store cash/it, and if it's cold, forget about it. Also, seriously, nobody wants to see that. I kept it screen accurate, no kid friendly steps, and I wore it to age appropriate events. Star Wars cosplays are frustrating to do. Because no matter what character you are, you'll get some dipshit who starts a conversation with you and decides to go in depth on why Disney ruined their childhood. If someone is expressing their passion for something, don't complain about the merits of it to them. No joke, I cosplayed as Kanan Jarrus, the Jedi Knight character in Rebels, and someone decided to stop me in a hallway at a convention and give what I can only describe as a lecture on why the Clone Wars is better than Rebels, while I was cosplaying a fucking Rebels character. Had the same thing happen when I did a Rogue One cosplay, Krennic, where someone tried to convince me that Revenge of the Sith is better, despite my repeated attempts to just say okay and bow out of the conversation. I'm working on a Mandalorian cosplay now and already dreading what I'll have to hear next. Let people enjoy things. Back when the Assassin's Creed games were in their heyday, I cosplayed as one of the assassins with a few of my friends who were also assassins. For example, one of us was Connor, one was Ezio, another was Edward, etc. I spent a lot of time on those costumes and the props, so I have no problem saying they looked good. We got a lot of attention, including getting stopped for literal hours at the PlayStation booth for pictures, because a few other assassins joined, and we had the whole family. The problem, I'm a girl, and a short one at that. My friends who cosplayed with me are tall boys. So at the risk of looking like a pop vinyl next to them, I had to wear boots with a significant heel on them to help give me some height. It was brutal. We only got tickets for the one day, and it was hours spent on our feet in poses, and we had to stop every few feet for pictures. Don't get me wrong, the pictures were awesome. It made all the time and effort worth it. But I was in absolute agony. At one point, when we all took a bathroom break, I took off my boots and put my throbbing feet on the cold tile floor. Judge me all you want, it felt amazing. Thankfully, some people who wanted to take pictures with me noticed I was in pain and out of costume and just chatted with me and waited to take pictures until after I got the boots back on. I had to call it quits early on and missed out on looking around as much as I would have liked. Even trying to leave the huge convention center was slow because I kept getting stopped. When I finally got back to the hotel and took my boots off, I had huge blisters on the top of my feet, on my heels, everywhere. It ruined the rest of the weekend for me. A couple of years later, I went as Lara Croft from the newer games and got to wear flat, grippy boots with an ice gel insert. It was heaven. I dressed up as the guy from Ghost with a shitty Pope costume and corpse paint for Halloween in Texas. Almost got my ass kicked by a drunk hick who was upset about the shooting in Pittsburgh that had just happened and overheard me making a joke about selling indulgences. Was a weird night. It wasn't a cosplay, but a Halloween costume for a university party. I went as Two-Face as part of a group Halloween costume, Batman villains, and went all in on the liquid latex face makeup. It looked grotesque. I was distinctly proud of myself. There was a guy from my course that I thought I was definitely in with who was also at the party. It turns out that fake horror burns aren't exactly conducive to drunken maquillettes, and he ended up going off with someone whose costume consisted of a corset, a pair of booty shorts, and a set of cat ears. Me. Bitter? No. I dressed up as Bender from Futurama 3 years in a row, but I don't think I will ever do it again, because it was such a pain in the ass to see. Here's a picture of me in costume and I could literally only see out of the 2 tiny holes I made in the eyes. I could probably figure something out, but I'm too lazy for that, and the way I would make the head was pretty easy. Plus, since the bottom part was just long johns, you could see the outline of my junk sometimes, and I had a drunk gay guy grab it at a party because of that. Junkrat. Never again. The one time I went, I had my best buddy as Lucio. I mean, the cosplay worked perfectly. I have a prosthetic hand, amputee struggles XD, have a British accent, it sounds Australian enough if I try, and I stood at 6'3". My buddy had to keep people from touching my arm and asking if it was real. One time, I got so annoyed that I just took it off and waved my stump. Plus, the spray paint for the prosthetic was a pain to scrub off, and the wig was very itchy. Though there was a group there with various other Overwatch characters, and we had fun taking photos. I did a One Punch Man cosplay at Comic Con. I shit you not, about an hour in a guy that was playing one of the enemy characters from the first season. I believe the leader of the aliens that invaded on that huge ship came sprinting down the walkway and punched me square in the stomach as hard as he could. I unconsciously tensed my muscles up, so that absorbed a lot of the impact, but if though it looks like I was fine, I felt like both my lungs had collapsed and about 3 ribs punctured my stomach. I'm a guy, and the suit wasn't exactly made for male anatomy. It also didn't have any pockets. The wig I wore was a massive pain, especially since I'm not used to having long hair. It kept getting in front of my eyes, I kept getting hair in my mouth, and it got more and more tangled as the night went on. But the worst part was that going to the bathroom was a massive pain. I'd have to leave the glove/headset with a friend, go to the bathroom, take the wig off, hang the wig up, unzip the suit from the back, use the toilet, zip the suit up, put the wig back on, adjust the wig, then go put the headset and gloves back on. Lynn from Fire Emblem, the Blazing Blade, bought the costume and was excited to put it on, only to realize that you could literally see the top of my underwear and some extra skin above it front be slid on the side. I'm definitely too young for a thong, so I might have to wait a few years to do that one. Rip over $100. Was less of a cosplay and more a Halloween costume. At a Halloween party at a frat house, I was Misty from Pokemon, walking through a hallway when some guy calls out, "Hey Misty, do you have a Brock Turner?" You know, Brock Turner, Stanford rapist. Kinda soured my view on a costume I'd been reusing for like 5 Halloweens at that point. Sad but not surprising that most of these comments are about women being harassed. The fact that events have to show signs that cosplay equals consent is crazy. The dark and ugly side of this culture, cosplay/gaming/weeb/otaku/mo fandoms, is that many young boys develop and fetishize women's bodies and sometimes young girls, the latter of which makes me sick. Loli is a form of pedophilia.